Hi everyone, how's it going? So this Friday, 29th of September, we have a full moon in Aries. Of course, we are in Libra season now. The sun is in Libra. And when the sun transited in Libra, that was on the 23rd of September, so not long ago, we're in air energy now in terms of the zodiac season. And this full moon is happening in the opposite sign of Aries within fire energy. So there may be something in relation to our emotions, our feelings, the moon, getting a bit fiery. And it doesn't have to be in an aggressive way, but certainly we're feeling that motivation to be doing things, to be taking action. And of course, the sun, the soul essence of the cosmos, is craving that fairness and reciprocity and balance that Libra represents. So this is quite significant when we think of our journey as the self, because Aries represents the self. It rules the first house in astrology. That's all about the self. And it's all about our sovereignty. And we've been trying to get in touch with our sovereignty. Whilst Chiron's been in Aries, of course, the healing journey, we're trying to get back to the warrior self that we are, but maybe only remembering that we are through our transformation journey. So this is a reminder and almost like a resetting point because it's Aries. So it's the start of the zodiac, even though we're in Libra, so stay with me on this. But in terms of the full moon and releasing what is not serving us, this is about taking it back to the self and releasing anything that is not in alignment with our self. So in accordance with our sovereignty and through our transformation journey and our healing journey, we may now be aware of things that are no longer in alignment with us. So in terms of our sovereignty, okay, that's no longer in alignment with me. Therefore, I need to release that. I need to detach from it, or I need to change something. So we've been prompted to do that for a while. I've been talking about the Venus retrograde. And of course, when Venus went direct, it's that point of saying, okay, during the introspection time, where have you realized you're investing your resources? In aspects of life, in connections that bring you joy, or in aspects and connections in life that don't bring you joy, and trying to rebalance the scales. And I say that we're now in Libra. This is the perfect opportunity to rebalance those scales from what we've learned during the preceding Virgo season that was calling for us to clean things up, to get things in order, to be quite methodical about what we need to do, having a plan in terms of what we need to do, strategizing in that way. So it's kind of, taking a step forward in that respect into air energy, that soul essence, the air energy that's helping us move forward. But now with the full moon in Aries, within our emotions and feelings, we have to consider the self. And it's a fire sign. Aries is a fire sign. So of course, yes, emotions, feelings could be fiery. But it's more so about the fire that's within us to motivate us to move us forward in accordance with the self, in accordance with our journey. Okay, so I've looked at the astrology for the event of the full moon. And of course, as I usually do in these reports, I will show you the chart and the chart against the UK's natal chart, which gives context to the houses for the collective of the UK. Okay. And I've also got some cards, divination tools. I'm going to pull some extra messages. All of this will be time-stamped, okay? But I was drawn to something very, very significant in the astrology, which I will come on to. And this is quite big, I would say. So you may want to take note, especially those of you interested to know about romance. So that will be coming up shortly. But as I said, it's the 29th of September, it's Friday. So that's worldwide, it's happening on the 29th of September. But depending on where you are in the world, it's going to happen at a different time. For us in the UK, it will be 10:57 a.m. If you're looking at America, those on Pacific time, so Los Angeles, that's 2:57 a.m. So apply your own time zones as appropriate, but it's 29th of September. And we are getting to the end of the month. We'll soon be in October. We also, have just had the autumn equinox or the spring equinox, depending on where you are in the world. That happened the same day that the sun entered Libra. So big energy on that day. And certainly for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, autumn equinox, this is about, the leaves falling from the trees. This is about releasing. And that's what the full moon is supporting us with doing as well, with the lunar energy. Of course, for those in the southern hemisphere, spring equinox, new starts, new beginnings. And they work hand in hand, because we need to actually release what's not serving us in order to allow space to bring in the new, for those new beginnings that want to come through. And what I will do is I will grab the card deck that I was guided to look at, and when I was getting everything ready on the table, I completely forgot because there is a beautiful depiction of a tree shedding its leaves, and it was something that I just want to share with you. Okay, so I'll do that towards the end. Without further ado, let's get into the astrology, and I can show you what I was drawn to. So I'm just going to pull up the chart now. And this is the event of the full moon, okay? I'm going to pop my specs on for this one. Okay. So what we have here is we have the full moon in Aries. And as I said, 10:57 a.m. for those of us in the UK, British Standard Time. Apply your own time zones as appropriate. And we've got the sun in Libra that I mentioned, okay? And opposite that, we will have the moon in Aries. So, of course, with a full moon, the sun and the moon are in the opposite signs. So we've got that opposition already between soul essence and our feelings. So yes, we want to be motivated to move forward and to take action. Our soul is still calling for fairness and reciprocity. So of course, you know, we need to still make sure that that's happening within our situations, within our connections, and within ourselves. We need to have that balance within ourselves in order for it to be reciprocated back, of course. And I have drawn on here the trines and the squares. So the squares providing insight into challenging energy, and the trines with regards to harmonious aspects within astrology. So let's start off with the squares. Let's get the challenges out of the way, okay? So what we have, first of all, is with regards to the moon, we have a square going to Vesta. And we also have a square from the Sun and Pallas, because they are conjunct, across to Vesta. And Vesta is that sacred flame energy. So what is that sacred flame energy within you? What sparks that passion within you, or who sparks that passion within you? Where is that creative energy coming from, that source energy of creation, but one that you're passionate about? This is, you know, akin to Goddess Bridget energy. So there is something to be said about manifestation and creation and new beginnings here, but this is sacred flame, it's sacral energy. This is what we are inspired and passionate about. And the square can just be saying that, okay, our soul is calling for balance and reciprocity. We know what sparks that flame within, but let's just have a little bit of a check-in point, because what sparks that flame within, is there any aspect about that may not be balanced where I need to bring in the balance? And similarly with the feelings, we're motivated with the moon in Aries to be taking action in respect to ourselves. So yes, we know what the sacred flame energy is for us. And then it's about applying that within our feelings, being confident enough with the Aries energy to uphold our sovereignty, to follow that sacred flame. And that just may be challenging for a number of reasons, you know, confidence, whatever it might be. And we also need to remember that it's a full moon. So I mentioned about releasing what's not serving us. So yes, we're aware of what that sacred flame energy is. We feel motivated and inspired to go towards it. We want to bring in the fairness. However, do we need to detach from something else to give us the energetic space to bring this sacred flame energy in? Because that is what could be causing the challenging energy. We want things to be balanced. We might be out of balance at the moment because we are investing our resources in an area that is not serving us, that's not in alignment with our sovereignty. So the full moon is going to illuminate that for us. And then we need to set the intentions to release it, because we understand what the sacred flame energy is we want to go towards. We're motivated and inspired to do so. But in order to bring about the balance, to enable that balance, we might need to detach from something else. So it links in with our transformation journey of what Pluto's calling for. It links in with the lessons that Saturn is trying to teach us to get in alignment with our spiritual truth. It links in with the change that Uranus is calling for. It could link in with the South Node and karma and past life stuff that's been coming up. It links into Chiron with our healing journey. It links into Venus in terms of where we're investing our resources, our time, energy, love, attention, money. So everything is connected in that way. And we need to look at this because we're driving this forward as sovereign souls. We want to head in a certain direction because that is our sacred flame energy. And it's important for us to go in that direction, but we just need to feel balanced about it. Excuse me. So that could just be providing that bit of challenging energy. But there is this trine, okay, from Mars, also in Libra. So the masculine energy is in the sign of balance, fairness, reciprocity. And of course, the masculine energy within us wants to drive things forward. Mars rules Aries. So there's a link here as well. So this is about the masculine drive within us to follow what we want to do, to strive for that fairness, to restore balance, to bring balance back in. And the beautiful trine is with Saturn. So if we can actually motivate ourselves to kind of kickstart the fairness and the balance that we want to see by following what we want, going after what we want. Think of the Emperor in Tarot. That's about the go-getter, knowing what you want and going after it. So that in itself, if it's in alignment with your spiritual truth, is certainly going to make Saturn happy. Because Saturn is teaching us where things are out of balance, because he wants us to get in alignment with our spiritual truth. So anything that's not in alignment with our spiritual truth is out of balance with us. Standard. So therefore, the masculine drive, wanting to take that inspired action, is actually making Saturn happy because we're having the courage and motivation to restore the balance in our lives and to make things fair for us, where maybe they've not been fair in the past. Maybe we've been doing stuff to please other people in the past. This is all about us. This full moon is Aries, the self, the sovereign self. Saturn's in Pisces, the house of the divine. So there's sovereignty, there's divinity all over this, okay? And, you know, there's another square, which is the south node to Pluto. So south node is also in Libra now. At the root of everything, we do want to bring balance in. We want to ensure that the foundations that we're now building, because we want to move in the direction of our purpose. North node is in Aries. So that's us striving for our sovereignty and moving forward in terms of our true purpose. South node, opposite sign of Libra. Yes, at the root, we want to build the foundations that are now fair and balanced. But to do that, we've got to cleanse karma. South node also represents karma and also represents past life situations. So we want to be understanding why these patterns have been coming up for us and what we need to release to cleanse the karma. And that can be challenging because it can be uncomfortable. So that is why I feel there is this square between the South node and Pluto at this time. Because Pluto's cleaning house and he's cleaning Saturn's house. So they're working in harmony together here. But we need to understand that karmic stuff or past life stuff that we're having to process can be quite clunky to go through. Clunky and gunky to go through. So this is about understanding it might just bring that challenging energy to what we're trying to deeply transform. Because maybe, yes, we've understood our sacred flame energy and that which we want to invest in, or that person that we want to invest in, whatever it might be. We're motivated and inspired to do it. The masculine energy within us wants to have the courage to move forward. But yet there is a pattern that keeps holding us back, or one that needs to be acknowledged before we can fully do that. And we want to bring the balance back in. So that issue or past life, you know, situation needs to be addressed, needs to be acknowledged. And it's trying to understand, if this is resonating for you, of course, where certain aspects might be coming from. So certain patterns of thinking that are not serving us, perhaps coming from anxiety and doubts, might have been deep-rooted from our childhood. It could relate to a past life. So we're needing to understand where it's coming from in order for us to truly, deeply transform, because Pluto's deep, remember. And so we can cleanse that karma once and for all. And then we can learn those lessons of Saturn as well. Okay. There is another trine, and this is the nugget of this reading. Okay. You may have already noticed it, don't know. But there is a trine from Venus and Juno across to the North Node and Chiron. And the North Node and Chiron are both in Aries. So we're talking about Aries because that's where the full moon is. And they're both in retrograde. So, of course, you know, the healing journey of Chiron, this is about healing our sovereignty, understanding who we are as a warrior self and our strength, because we have that within us. So we are discovering or rediscovering that. And the North Node is our purpose, you know, our true north, our guiding light. So hand in hand with that, we're healing our sovereignty. And that is in itself helping us unlock the path forward in terms of our purpose and where we are striving to get to, because we want to move in the direction of the North Node and away from the South Node, because that's the South, this is the North. Yeah. Okay. That's brilliant. So we've been healing that for a while, and yes, it can feel challenging, but we are healing it. We're moving that in that direction of the sovereignty. We're understanding our sovereignty, and the moon being in Aries as well. This is about motivating ourselves based on ourself, and we need to understand our worth and values. Of course, that's also part of this, but this is more about that spark within to go after what we want because we're worth it, and understanding our sovereignty. We're worth it. Okay, but this is brilliant. Don't know if you can spot that even now, but we've got an exact conjunction here, folks, between Venus and Juno. They're on top of one another. They're in Leo. What does this mean, Kirsty? You might ask. Well, Venus is that joy, that heart kind of energy of love, joy, and abundance in that way. It's divine feminine energy, of course, and Juno is also divine feminine energy. But this is about love. Juno represents love and partnerships, love and marriage. They're on top of one another. In the sign of Leo, Leo rules the 5th house of love. 2222 is a powerful angel number relating to soulmates. Okay. So when I spotted this, I had to mark it up with a pink line because I love pink. But for me, this was just wow. Okay, they're on top of one another here. They were getting close before. I've mentioned this in the previous astrology report. They were getting close. Well, at the time of this full moon, they're going to be on top of one another. An exact conjunction. An exact conjunction. So this is powerful. This is about our partnerships with people, loving partnerships with people. And that full expression of that love from the heart chakra with that Leo energy, the courage to do so, to be open to receive and to give that love. Well, that all ties back into Libra as well because of the reciprocity that we want. This is beautiful when it comes to loving partnerships, loving connections with another person, okay? And how that is helping the healing journey because of the trine, the beautiful trine to Chiron and the North Node. So this is our purpose, to be inspired by our healing journey. And this loving partnership could be assisting our healing journey, could be assisting our purpose. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And of course, I'm going to pull up the chart to show, you know, against the UK. So you've got some context with the house system to see where all of this is happening. And, you know, this is just, it blew me away when I saw it because it's Leo energy as well. So this is having the strength, you know, because Leo calls for strength, having the strength to be open to receive and to give in a loving partnership is so powerful when it comes to our healing journey and our purpose at this time, and recognizing that we are actually caring for ourselves first and foremost, because this is about full moon in Aries. So we need to ensure that we're releasing what doesn't serve us, because if we've got a beautiful loving partnership here, wanting to come into our life. The energy is here. Okay, it's written in the stars. It's written in the cosmos, as you can see on the screen. So this is about understanding that we might need to release some stuff that's not serving us, because look at what is wanting to serve us. And, you know, this will only resonate for those of you that are wanting to be in a loving partnership or connection. And maybe you're in a connection already, and this is kind of re-establishing that, because the energy is going to enhance that love between you. So it's only going to resonate with, you know, a group of the collective. But this is, first and foremost, we've got to serve ourselves with that, the Aries energy, okay, and release anything that's not in alignment. Well, as soon as we do that, yes, we're making Saturn happy. We're in alignment with our spiritual truth. So what's that going to do? It's going to attract the soulmate into our lives, because we've got the space then for them. But we need to open our hearts to receive that, because this is about reciprocity, as well as having the courage to be able to give that love in return, because we want fairness, balance, reciprocity. But these two, you know, this is a nurturing energy. It's feminine energy. Okay, it's not like I'm saying Venus here is on top of Mars, you know, that's totally divine counterpart, you know, energy, I would say, because we've got Venus representing the feminine and we've got Mars representing the masculine. Okay, so that would be even bigger than what I'm seeing. But 2222, and we've got a planet representing love and also an asteroid representing love in the sign that rules love and the heart. And the trine that's going across to Chiron, we're healing our hearts through this loving partnership. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's stop sharing that. As you can see, I'm quite passionate about that, okay, because we all deserve love. And look at what we just saw, 2222, folks. Okay, let me share. This is the chart that that is against the UK's natal chart, okay? So if you've not seen an astrology report of mine before, this will just highlight the house system and how it may impact the collective of the UK, because I've utilised the UK's natal chart as the inner wheel, and the outer wheel is the transits of the full moon. So it's a kind of snapshot of the cosmos at the time of that event. All those lines that you just saw are on here. So it shows you, it gives you context. And of course, if it was your chart in the middle, it would show you how the full moon could be impacting your chart, okay? Because all of our charts are unique. It's our soul's blueprint, okay? I stand by that. So let's take a look at this. So we've got the sun here in the 4th house in Libra, and we've got the moon in the 10th house. So the full moon is happening for the UK collective, okay, within the 10th house of inner authority. Well, you know, Aries is all about sovereignty. So that's pretty much inner authority, isn't it? It can also represent work, okay? So there may be some situations going on within work for you that is going to be illuminated when it comes to your own sovereignty, and in terms of how you might feel about that, because of course we can't rule that out. The 10th house represents both, but when we look at our inner authority, because of our sovereignty, we're wanting to feel empowered, and Saturn is in the 8th house, so it's very much about learning the lessons in terms of our personal power. So we need to feel empowered to be who we are. So it's very much linking to inner authority here. And the sun, that soul essence of the balance, is within the 4th house of foundations. So quite apt that the South Node is also there, because yes, the Libra energy is there. We're wanting to establish that fairness in terms of the foundations that we're now building for ourselves, because we're healing, we're evolving, we're building our new foundation. We want it to be stable, we want it to be fair, and we want justice, okay, because we deserve it. That's our sovereign right. So that's, you know, also very key to bear in mind here. The square that I mentioned that is from the South Node to Pluto is happening, of course, from the 4th house, which is where the South Node is, across to the 6th house where Pluto is. So Pluto is wanting to deeply transform when it comes to how we are of service to others, and also our daily routines and schedules. So what might need to transform in those areas? Because there's a square from the South Node, of course, I've mentioned about karmic stuff and I've mentioned about past life stuff, okay? But when we think of patterns generally that are maybe not serving us, that we need to cleanse, are any of those related to our daily routines and schedules? Because maybe something needs to change to break that pattern. Could it be a past life situation that keeps repeating itself, keeps showing itself as a pattern, for example, that relates to how we are of service with others? Because maybe we've always been overly of service to others and we've not been open to receive that back, and that might need to deeply transform. So take it how it resonates, but remember the South Node is in Libra, calling for fairness when it comes to all of this. We want to bring back the balance in our foundations. Now, I mentioned about Mars and the trine that's going across to Saturn in the 8th house. So, you know, again, our foundations, within our foundations, our masculine energy is ready to take action to bring back that fairness and balance, and can work in harmony with Saturn, because yes, we're understanding what is in alignment with our spiritual truth and we're becoming more empowered. So the masculine energy within us, within our foundations, 4th house, Mars, Libra, is allowing us to feel more balanced and therefore more empowered. Saturn in the 8th house in Pisces, that's in alignment with our soul's truth. We want to feel empowered. That's going to help the inner authority as well. It all ties in. The other square, of course, I mentioned Vesta square the moon, Vesta square the sun. That's sacred flame energy. Well, the sacred flame energy is here in the 12th house. That's Pisces house in astrology. And we know in this particular chart, it's Cancer and a bit of Gemini. Okay, this is why charts are unique. But it's the subconscious house, it's the hidden house, it's the mysterious house, the mystical house. And, you know, we know that the moon is in the 10th house and we know the sun is in the 4th house. So this challenge when it comes to our sacred flame energy, perhaps it's hidden. Perhaps it's quite deep rooted that we've only just really started to understand what that sacred flame energy might be. And we don't quite know how we feel about it yet. So there could be that challenge within our feelings, because the moon being in Aries, we want to feel motivated to take action for ourselves. And maybe we're still not sure about what we do want to take action towards, because Vesta is in the 12th house. And equally, you know, within our foundations, that soul essence energy of wanting the fairness and the balance, well, we need to understand, okay, so how do we feel about this sacred flame energy? And is it fair? Is it balanced? You know, we need to make sure we're still building this foundation. Is anything going to throw us off balance if we pursue that? Okay, so it just gives a bit of context to the house system. And remember, the moon is in the house of inner authority and work. So if it does resonate that it relates to work for you, then this could be about, well, I know what that sacred flame energy is for me, and it's actually not related to what I'm doing for work. It's something else. It's like a passion project, or maybe it's somebody that, you know, I'm quite passionate about, but it could be a creative endeavor that you're really inspired about, and it sparks off that sacral energy. But you might feel a bit kind of unsure. You have the motivation to follow it, but because you're also learning to trust your inner authority, when it comes to work, it might be challenging, because perhaps something needs to change within the work situation to enable you to follow the sacred flame energy. And that could be why there's a challenge with the sun in Libra, because it's like, okay, we need to be balanced here. So what needs to change? I want to do that, but perhaps work restricts me, but I feel like I really want to go towards it. So let's work out how we can bring the balance in. And it's that further conversation with yourself, but knowing that, you know, the sacred flame is very much in that hidden subconscious house. Then it could be that it's just that spark is just coming up and you're understanding what that is, but it might impact on those areas. Foundations to bring the fairness, and work or in authority when it comes to following your guiding light, because this is all about you. This is all about the sovereign self. But there is that trine that I mentioned with the beautiful Venus and Juno, which I'll just remind you of, that it's here, 22, 22. Well, there's another 2 for you over here, because it's in the second house of worth and values. So loving partnership that's going to enhance that love energy within your worth and values is working in harmony with Chiron and the North Node, your healing journey and your purpose when it comes to your inner authority of your sovereignty. So this loving connection is, or is wanting to, enhance your sovereignty. It's wanting to nurture your worth and values. And that will in turn enhance and empower your sovereignty, which is part of the healing journey and also enabling you to follow your purpose. So it's a very supportive, loving partnership, this is. Absolutely beautiful. As I was saying, absolutely beautiful. There was something else that I was drawn to, okay, as I was looking. I should mention as well, the Sun is actually conjunct Pallas, which is another divine feminine asteroid. They're 1 degree apart in Libra. So those aspects that I mentioned relating to the Sun, it will apply to Pallas as well because she is close. And that's also that nurturing energy, wanting balance and wanting fairness, of course, which is what we're all striving towards in this lifetime. So let's have a look here. I was drawn to the fact that we have in the 11th house. So I've mentioned about Venus and I've gone on about this beautiful soulmate connection, this loving partnership that's going to help you in terms of your worth and values. It's going to help you heal and it's also going to help your purpose. And because it's reciprocal energy, this could be, it's a mutual exchange within the connection, mutual exchange. Remember, fairness, reciprocity. Okay, but both parties need to be open to receive and have the courage to give. But the energy is here for a beautiful 2222 soulmate energy here. I'll keep saying that. But in the 11th house of connections with others, so if we're looking at that as a beautiful loving partnership, a beautiful loving soulmate connection, then we've got to look at the 11th house and the 5th house, because the 11th house is connections with others. The 5th house is the house of love. Cue the E17 song. So we've got Jupiter here in Taurus. So Taurus is about worth and values, and that's the house that Venus and Juno have rocked up in. So there's extra emphasis on worth and values here within connections with others, because Uranus has been calling for this change. And look at who's sitting there in the UK's natal chart, 11th house. Oh, it's only Venus. So, you know, it's the UK's Venus. So this is all about connections with other people that are loving and can offer that expansion, Jupiter energy, when it comes to our worth and values. And also, you know, that might provoke or promote change, Uranus in Taurus. Connections that, you know, there's been a message for a while that our connections with others maybe do need to change in some way because they need to be in alignment with our worth and values. Well, a beautiful, loving partnership like that in the 2nd house of worth and values is pretty profound, I would say. But Uranus is still saying, you know, there might be some element of change because maybe within our worth and values, we need to believe that we're worthy of that love. So we need to understand the Venus energy is helping nurture us through this as well, especially if we've been through pain of the past. And this is why it's helping the healing journey, okay? This loving connection, this soulmate connection is helping the healing journey. But we need to understand that we're in charge of our own healing journey. We can't rely on another to sort it out for us. But it's all connected to our healing journey, because when we can open ourselves up to receive love and we are detaching from what doesn't serve us anymore, pain of the past, painful relationships of the past, trust issues, whatever it might be, then we are naturally evolving through our healing journey. And that's what's allowing this connection to come in. You see what I'm saying? So we're actually assisting ourselves, and then we're receiving that as reciprocal energy back because we've made the space and we've understood our worth and values when it comes to love. We're worthy of love, of course. We want to give love, we want to receive love, we want it to be reciprocal, but it needs to be in alignment with the worth and values. If we're not feeling worthy of it, it's not going to come in because we need to be open to it. And that could be another message here of Uranus about the change. So connections with others, what needs to change? And Jupiter is offering in retrograde the inner expansion and inner growth. So we're growing as we're understanding what this is and opening ourselves up to more love and true love, divine love, not fake love. That can be scary because we need to trust in that, especially if we've never experienced it before. And that's why it's all connected to the healing journey. But interestingly, opposite, so we've got Jupiter 14 degrees there transiting through. And in the UK's natal chart in the 5th house, which is the opposite house, and it's in Scorpio here, even though it's partly Scorpio, partly Sag for the UK's natal chart, 5th house, we've got Vesta again. And Vesta is there at 14 degrees, direct opposition. So the sacred flame energy, when it comes to what we love as well, and this is deep, so it could be something we're deeply passionate about because of the Scorpio energy, is almost forcing us to grow internally with the Jupiter retrograde energy, the inner expansion. Jupiter has massive expansive energy, but in the retrograde, this is all happening within us. So that's powerful. Because imagine what Jupiter can do as a gas giant, you know, there in the cosmos, massive expansion. And he can expand positively or negatively. There's a spiritual aspect as well, because Jupiter used to rule Pisces. It was the original ruler of Pisces. So there is a spiritual divine element to Jupiter as well. Of course, now ruling Sag, which is about exploration, learning and discovery. So we are discovering where we might need to change in terms of our worth and values to allow ourselves to be open to receive love, because look at what we've got here, 2222, Venus on top of Juno in Leo in the 2nd house of worth and values. And the sacred flame energy is there. Like what do we love when it comes to that deep sacral energy? What are we really deeply passionate about? And the opposition energy can again provide challenge. So yes, the inner growth could be quite challenging because maybe we're having to really wade through the depth of what we want and what we're passionate about and who we're passionate about to allow ourselves to be open to receive love from that person. Okay, that's just one example. And the inner growth that's going on because we're needing to go through the pain of, you know, releasing pain from the past, but we're having to kind of, you know, experience it when we're releasing it because we've got to acknowledge it, then that can be uncomfortable. But wow, I mean, sorry, I'm just going to show you again, folks. Venus and Juno, 2222, Leo. Absolutely beautiful, loving partnership energy. So there you go. We know we've still got energy going on in Virgo that's still wanting us to have that truth talk with ourselves, because Mercury is there and Lilith is there as well, transiting through. And for the UK, Lilith is in the 3rd house in the natal chart. So we've got like double Lilith energy here. So there could be some self-critical aspects of how we're talking to ourselves when it comes to whether we are worthy of receiving this love. We need to believe that we are. And this is also strengthening our sovereignty. Okay, we can open up our heart to receive divine love, and we can express that we don't want to accept anything less than divine love because we are sovereign beings and we are worthy of this. We want to bring balance and reciprocity into our lives, don't we? We don't want to be overly of service to others in a connection where we're not getting that energy reciprocated back, do we? So we want the fairness. So this is how all the energy is working for us. And what's that also doing? Helping the deep transformation that Pluto's calling for. And also empowering us to get into alignment with our spiritual truth. So we're making Saturn happy. We're learning his lessons throughout all of this. Okay. And we're healing through all of this as well. If we were never really open to love because we've always been hurt before, and we suddenly find the inner growth that Jupiter can bring us within our worth and values to understand we are worthy of receiving it. Venus is nurturing us through that as well. And then Venus and Juno are there on top of one another with a soulmate number in their degrees in the sign that rules the house of love. Then that's going to be empowering, and that is going to enable us to heal on this journey and receive the reciprocal energy of true divine love, because this is a divine loving connection, partnership that these two are representing, and within the house of worth and values. So that's quite something. Now, before I forget, I'm just going to grab that card deck that I mentioned. That's just come back to me now. And that card deck is actually called Sacred Destiny. And this is all about the sacred flame energy, isn't it? And our destiny when it comes to romance, etc. So I'm going to stop sharing. So it's quite something, but there you go. I can prove it. Sacred Destiny. Okay, so I'm just going to find, and that's very interesting because it's a healing chaos on the bottom. I'm just going to find that card that I was guided to earlier. Have a look. It's a beautiful deck. It's an oracle deck. So let's see. It might be the last one I come to. That would be typical. But look at that, new beginnings. So that, you know, representing the spring equinox energy of new beginnings. Yeah, it's going to be towards the end. Ah, there we go. So I mentioned this, didn't I, earlier? And again, you know, reflect on where you are in the world, if it's Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. Because on the 23rd of September, yes, the sun entered Libra. We have the autumn equinox and the spring equinox, depending on where you are. And I've mentioned about the spring, so very much new beginnings, birthing something new. As with all the seasons, it's a new beginning in that way. But in terms of birthing something new, creating something in that way. And the autumn, I mentioned about leaves falling from the tree. And this was the image, you see, that I was drawn to, which is from this card. And it's beautiful. I mean, there is warmth to this. And of course, it says release on it. So what do you need to release? What do you need to release to restore that warmth back into your life? Because, hello, Venus and Juno, I was going to say Venus and Gino, Venus and Juno are there on top of one another. So 2222, okay? That's the degrees of the planet and the asteroid. They're on top of one another. But we need to release what's not serving us. New can't come in if we're holding on to the old. So this is about allowing the leaves to fall. And because there's this warmth and it's this kind of browny orange energy, that is very sacral. So mentioning about the sacred flame, this is very much about what does spark that passion, that creativity within. What is that sacred flame energy? And what do we need to release that is no longer in alignment with us? It could be as simple as a negative thought pattern. Why do I keep thinking I'm not worthy of love? You know, for example. So it could be as simple as releasing that. I've always thought I'm not worthy of love, but actually I am worthy of love. And I'm going to release this, this, and this because that's not serving me, because I deserve better than that. Could be as simple as that. Work with the lunar energy of the full moon, release, allow the leaves to fall. Because that's when, you know, the season changes, as we know. But think of then what can come from that. It's like the birth of something new, that regrowth. And we have to go through this in order to get to that point. So it's just important to recognize that we need to release, even if it's fears and doubts. And even as I've been saying all that about soulmate energy, you might be watching it going, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Well, you're not open to it then, are you, is what I would say. You're not believing it. And that's part of the story here. This is about surrendering to the reality that this is achievable. And recognizing that you're worthy of receiving it. If you don't feel worthy of receiving it, of course, it's not going to resonate and it's not going to be kind of magnetically attracted to you because you're almost repelling it away, saying, I'm not worthy of that, I'm not worthy of that. So you need to believe in your sovereignty. And again, full moon in Aries, releasing anything that is not serving you, that goes against the self. We need to be focusing on the self and what we are worthy of as the self, as sovereign beings, as leaders, as warrior spirits, and be empowered in that. You know, that's the energy that you need to be emitting. Okay. And that way it's like, no, I am sovereign and I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of divine love. I'm worthy of divine joy. I'm worthy of divine abundance because I am a sovereign soul. And I know my worth and I know my values. And it's having the confidence with the Aries energy to express that, of course. And that's, again, the truth talk, Mercury and Virgo, that we might need to have with ourselves, because it's like, you got to clean this up, Virgo energy. You got to clean this up. You got to start talking to yourself in a better way. And Lilith is there going, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Let me just bring this fear up. So you see where I'm going? We've got to understand that fears are going to come up, doubts are going to come up, and we need to release them. We need to understand why they're coming up. If it's a pattern of behavior, if it's from other people that have hurt us, that should have no say in what we're doing as sovereign souls, but it could be from that. And it's like, right, I've recognized this has been coming up because of what somebody said to me 10 years ago. Well, I'm worth more than that, so I'm actually going to release it. You know, why am I holding on to that energy? There's love waiting for me. Why am I holding on to that energy? I wish to release it. I'm a sovereign being. So as you can tell, I'm quite passionate about that. So this is just where, you know, where I'm saying as an example, okay, take it as it resonates, of course, as always. And as I said, it's only going to apply really for those looking for love, or in loving connections that are kind of finding that there's this enhanced energy of you getting closer together in terms of a loving partnership. Come on, Juno and Venus on top of one another, 22, folks. So yeah, beautiful, as I say. Right, I'm going to timestamp this, of course, because some people want to go straight to the cards and they don't want to look at the astrology. So I'm going to take some cards from Lightseers Tarot. And interestingly, we have Strength on the bottom, which is Leo energy. And we have the Magician on the top, Gemini. But that's about having the strength to manifest what you want in your life. So, you know, you've got the power. And that's part of our sovereignty. We've got the power to manifest the reality we desire. But if we're not going to believe we're worthy of all of these blessings and love, it's not going to happen, because the universe is going to say, okay, you don't believe it, you're not going to get it. So, you know, you believe it, here you go. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. It's all about our intentions and making sure that our vibration kind of, you know, we're maintaining that high vibration. And I get it. Life in this 3D reality ebbs and flows, and we have bad days, we have good days. So our vibration shifts in that respect. But this is about overall maintaining our sovereignty, of course, upholding our sovereignty, being empowered as that warrior self, loving ourselves, ensuring that we're investing in those areas and those people that bring us joy back, because we're going to then reciprocate that. And that's what's freeing up the space as well, because we're doing what we want to do. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the cards, because you're probably thinking, come on, Kirsty, I want to know what the cards say. So Lightseers Tarot, beautiful deck. Let's see what messages we have for the collective. Again, take what resonates. Collective is vast. Okay. It's not going to resonate for everybody. What does the collective need to know for full moon in Aries? What does the collective need to know for the full moon in Aries? Pure white lights. That one wants to be, wow, it's the Magician again, but he's in reverse. So yes, we need to know our power. We need to understand our power to manifest. Okay, what else do we need to know? All of these fell out. There's 5 of them, and 5 represents change. When I think of 5, I think of the 5th house of love that I'm just talking about with Leo energy. We have got here emotional fulfillment, 10 of cups. So think of that Venus Juno energy of a loving partnership. Hello, there we go. And there is something being nurtured about this in terms of a new stable beginning. Okay, it's in reverse, this card, but because of, you know, different decks depict different messages, and of course being an intuitive reader and getting channel guidance and insights, this is about a new stable beginning being protected. Okay, perhaps it's not ready to fully start yet, but it's being protected. But there might be some stress in the way. Recognize that that is just a reflection and it's not the reality. It's an illusion of fear, because look, the actual person is here, fine, not bound. Okay, that's an illusion. The fear is an illusion. And this is similar energy to this, because, you know, the pentacle is here, the page is holding that pentacle. So this is about a new stable beginning that wants to come in, but isn't quite ready for at the moment. Because bearing in mind, even when I say with the astrology, Venus and Juno, loving partnership, this could be the start of something. Okay, and it can be a slow start, it could be a quick start. Well, Pentacles energy is slow, but it's reliable. So this is about having a slow, reliable start with somebody that is going to bring such emotional fulfillment and happiness. Freeing yourself from the illusion of fear that it's not going to work out, or whatever the fear might be. And then we've got Aries energy personified with the Emperor. So that masculine drive to go after what you want, remembering what it is you want to go towards. But I feel this is certainly about the full moon in Aries and being that Aries energy of focusing on the self, because that's in the upright position. Yes, we've got those two in the reverse, but that's because we need to understand that we need to be in control of our reality and manifesting what we want, what we're worthy of as sovereign souls. And that's going to allow a new stable beginning to come in that's going to offer expansion and also emotional fulfillment. The emotional fulfillment, even if it's hidden, is already there, because that's in the upright position. Okay. Hidden energy, Empress in reverse. So, wow. Okay, straight away, we've got divine counterparts. And the Emperor is all of the kings, and the Empress is all of the queens. So this is divine union energy, but you might notice that one is in the upright and one is in the reverse. So this could relate to the feminine energy of needing to nurture ourselves through this, because perhaps the feminine energy is not yet ready to create, because there may be something that needs to be released, which could be this fear. Full moon, perfect time to release, because look, we've got a counterpart couple here. It's just that one needs to go into that position. And of course, that was in the hidden energy. So you may not even be aware of that, needing to nurture yourself through the desire to create something new and the power to do that as a sovereign being, because they're both sovereign beings. Okay. Releasing the fear and stepping into your power, because underneath that we have the Six of Pentacles, and that is all about balance and reciprocity. And what I'm drawn to there, because, you know, I say it's a stable beginning that's going to come in, could be slow, but it's protected. Well, there's pentacles here, and look, you know, one person has hold of that pentacle, the other one's catching that pentacle. It's kind of like that reciprocity, balancing out the pentacles energy. Okay, but you may feel it's too good to be true. Page of Cups in reverse. This is why, because you need to walk away from something or put an ending to something that is not making you happy. So what I will say is, if I can find it, this card trumps that one in terms of cups, because we've got 10 over here and 8 there. They're both in the upright position, but that's in the hidden energy. So you need to walk away from something that's not serving you, even if it is a cycle of fear, okay, because that's not serving anybody. And that enables you to walk towards that new beginning. And that's where the emotional fulfillment is waiting, okay? But it's getting into alignment with spiritual truth, receiving that enlightenment and accepting change as well. Okay, brilliant. Right, let's have a look at the Star Codes Astro deck. Any additional messages, please? And it's funny, Libra. Oh. Get a grip. Okay. What do we have? Thank you. Oh, okay. So we have Capricorn in reverse. So Capricorn, yes, it's all about achieving something. It is that Saturnian energy. But of course, this is in reverse. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't be too much of a taskmaster when it comes to what you're trying to achieve. Okay. The Capricorn energy is all about, very kind of business focused and driven, regimented, and wanting structures, wanting rules. And it might be that you just have to kind of let some boundaries down with regards to that. Because on the bottom, conjunction, alliance. Beautiful synchronicity there, Spirit. Thank you so much. Because what did we have? We had a Venus and Juno exact conjunction, which is, of course, an alliance. And it's an alliance when you consider a soulmate partnership as well. Anything else? Thank you. Yeah, 11th house in reverse on the bottom. So understanding connections with others. Okay. There we go. So that needed to come out again. We saw that once before, Libra balance. It's all about balance and reciprocity, bringing in the equal give and take. Right. As it's the full moon, I'm going to go with Queen of the Moon Oracle and see what we have from the Queen of the Moon. I just saw change, and that card is very much about not pushing change away, so not resisting change. That could be where the fears are coming in, because if it's like, whoa, I've got to open up to love, or that's change, maybe pushing against it. Boundaries in reverse. Yeah, you got to let some boundaries down to allow love to come in, but you need to believe in that first and foremost. Okay. The beautiful things, we might need to, let boundaries down. We need healthy boundaries, but we may just have our guards up because of pain in the past. So again, could be relating to that, needs to be released. Gratitude in reverse. So needing to have gratitude for every experience, even those painful experiences of the past, because it's made you stronger. It's taught you what isn't love, fake love, false love. Because how are you going to know what true love is unless you've experienced something that isn't? Even if it's painful, it's having gratitude for those lessons. Discernment, so discerning a situation for what it is, using your wisdom, okay, accordingly, and trusting your intuition with regard to that. And wow, okay, sovereignty in reverse. So needing, because that is the cover picture of the deck, needing to stand in your sovereignty with that Aries energy and focus on the self and what you're trying to create for yourself. It's card 41. 4 and 1 is 5. Change. So allowing change, because that's also going to empower your sovereignty. If there are changes in alignment with your soul's truth, of course. Faith in reverse on the bottom. And that gives me Empress vibes as well. So having the faith that you can create the reality that you desire, believing in that, believing in yourself. Let's go with the Moonology deck. This is the original Moonology deck. I usually bring out the manifestation one at the time of the new moon. And of course, remember that, in a couple of weeks, we will have a new moon, and that's perfect energy for manifestation intention setting. The full moon is about releasing and illumination. So, let's get our house in order and release what's not serving us to allow that divine love to come in. We can set the intention then once we've done the releasing work. Okay. There we go. That one wanted. Have faith in your dreams. So that's a further message about faith. Have faith in your dreams. Okay. And that could be why, when I saw that energy and I said, you might believe it's too good to be true. You need to have faith in what you believe is possible, certainly when it comes to matters of the heart. Okay. Why aren't you worthy of a fairy tale romance? Why aren't you worthy of that? Hold your vision. So staying committed and consistent to you. Your hard work is paying off. Okay, that's in reverse. So you need to believe that everything that you've been going through on this healing journey, even if it hasn't felt like it, you've been evolving throughout it. Because ask yourself if you're the same person as you were a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago. This evolution is part of the process of the transformation. So you need to believe in that. You know, it's assisting with the sovereignty, it's assisting with just generally in terms of us empowering ourselves more and getting into alignment with our spiritual truth also. Wow. Show the world the real you. This is all about being seen for who you are. And there could be fears around that. That might be the fears that, you know, need to actually be released. But this is about being you and not being afraid to show yourself as the real you. And it also makes me think of that Leo energy. So it's loving yourself enough to actually show yourself as the real you. Because, of course, when we look at soulmate connections and in terms of that love energy that I mentioned in the astrology, this is about understanding that on a soul level, love is love, okay? And whatever society might say should or shouldn't be love, this is the soul's truth, okay? And the soul bond is real. So this is what matters. And show the world the real you. Well, if you're showing the world the real you, you're showing the world your soul. That's the real you. That's your soul essence. And it's just, you know, and I could get deep when it comes to past life stuff, but we're the same soul. We're just in a different body, okay? And this is about showing the world the real you. This is who I am at the core. This is my soul. I'm proud of who I am as a soul, and I'm going to show myself as myself and not be afraid to do that. So this is very it's quite profound, and it takes a lot of courage because we're having to really kind of expose who we are in some situations, but having the faith to be who we are is again part of the sovereignty, because this is me. I'm a sovereign soul, and if you don't like me, that's fine, but this is who I am. You know, it's that kind of attitude to it. And it's not so easy for some people. It might be for others, it might not be for some. So it's recognizing that, you know, we're all worthy of love, and regardless of who we are, because from a soul point of view, we are bonded with others. So the soul connection is real, and that's where that attraction can be on a soul level, because souls recognize other souls. Okay, and I know I'm going deep now. But if you're showing yourself as the real you, you know, you're expressing who you are in that outward form, in this human experience, but you're not hiding, you're not putting like a false kind of mask on. It's the real you. So this is all about honoring yourself for your uniqueness, because it's Aquarius energy. So yes, the uniqueness, and recognizing that those that are for you will find you, because it's soul tribe energy as well. Okay. But you might need to look at the bigger picture, okay? And that's also full moon energy in Sagittarius. So allowing that expansive kind of view, look at something from a bigger perspective, look at it from a different perspective, understand that there's many different factors going on, and we all have a part to play in this journey of life. And, you know, that the puzzle pieces come together. This is recognizing the part that you might play being a sovereign soul. So you need to understand how important you are as a sovereign soul, and that's all part of the worth and values piece as well. And it's all relates to the Venus energy. Where are we investing our resources? Are we investing our resources in things that bring us that joy? Because that's really going to show ourselves as the real us, because we're going to be absolutely vibing and buzzing off that. But if it's something that's not making us happy, do you think that's going to show us as the real us? Might put a false kind of facade on, but are we really enjoying it? And that's what we've had to look at. So without going into another astrology lesson, those were the cards. And essentially, this is confirming, you know, what was in the astrology, really, that the emotional fulfillment and happiness is achievable here. But it's about releasing what's not serving us, which is what the full moon supports us in doing as well. And when we look at the Aries energy, we have to focus on the self. So we need to be who we are as a sovereign being, as a leader of our own life as well, and understand that we can have that drive to move forward. But we need to certainly walk away from something that's not making us happy, what's not serving us, to show ourselves as the real us, to uphold our sovereignty with that Aries energy, and to go after what we want, you know, because we're worth it at the end of the day. So I'll leave that with you. Happy full moon blessings. And of course, with your releasing and anything you might be doing with regards to that. Okay, I'm sending you love and blessings for that. And I will be back for further astrology reports, of course. I'm also considering reinstating my tarot readings on YouTube for the zodiac signs, because I used to do those a while back. So I'm considering doing that, bringing those back. I'll feel into it a bit more and see if it's going to, you know, work out, if people want those, and we'll go from there. But yes, in the meantime, love and blessings. Take care of you, and uphold your sovereignty. Take care, everybody.